Hey Android developers, Adam from the Crook here, and welcome to the third part of Speed Up Your Android Development using Cyborg. Today we're going to discuss the modules aspect of Cyborg, what they mean, how you can create one, or many, and how to access them throughout the framework. Before we start, let's agree that matching logic needs to be contained in the same object. On Android, you'd most of the time be using a singleton pattern to encapsulate the logic. You'd probably call it a manager of some sort. I claim a singleton pattern is not a good pattern for Android for multiple reasons, but we just leave that for now. We'll discuss this further in a different video. So the obvious question is, what can modules do for you as a developer? So instead of encapsulating a piece of logic, the purpose of the modules is actually to be reused. So you can put it as a library and use it over and over on your different projects, on many projects, as many as you'd want, without having to every time change them, adapt them. With singleton you have problems of inheritance. So modules can be reused, placed in a library, can be accessible from all the main components of Cyborg, as you would see later on. And by doing that, makes most of the code in broadcast receivers and services unnecessary. And how do you define a module? Modules most of the time come in packs. You might have the occasional basic single module, but I like to generalize, so that's what happened. So before we define a module, we would need to define a module pack this module will be a part of. So let's create our new module pack. First, we'll create a package for this tutorial. Modules. Basics. Create a new class. Basic module pack. Extends module pack. In the constructor of the basic module pack, called super. Super requires the classes of the modules that you want to use in your project. So in our case, we will have our basic module.class. Let's create a new class, definitely. And it will extend Cyborg module. Like you are probably used to, modules or singletons requires initialization with application context. In Cyborg, the module already have a function for you to init, to initialize it, and the context is just part of the Cyborg modules. So if we'll just implement the required method, it's an init method, and we can just request the context, get application, and there we have it. You have your application context right here in your hand. Now let's assume this is an analytics module. First we will name it, we'll call it basic analytics module. And we would like to distinguish between production and debug events before initializing the module. This is where the module pack comes in. You can go to the module pack, and also the module pack has a method in it to define the initialization of its own module. We would request our module basic analytics module at the class, and we would create later a new function, set analytics key, and here we would like to pass our respective analytics key if it's production or debug. And Cyborg has API to distinguish between production and debug versions, and it is hidden in the app details module. So let's get that module as well. It's called the app details module, and it has a method called isDebug. And yep, create that. And we'll have to distinct. If it's debug, we would like to have debug key. Otherwise, we would like to have production key. Let's call them debug production. Okay. Create. Oh, sorry. Create setter. Indeed. And we're done. Yeah. One last thing we need to do in order to see this in action, we need to add basic module pack to our Cyborg configuration. So we go here and we just add our class of the module pack. Note that the order of the packs that you add is the order in which the packs would be initialized. So it's might be crucial for application to properly set the packs one after the other, depending on the initialization needed for the modules inside these packs. So here we go, and we will go into the module pack. We'll add a breakpoint here. So I'm going to run this project and we'll see what happens. Clear the log. And we have an exception. What is that? It's a bad implementation exception. You've been bad, you've done something wrong. Cannot access module, app details module that was not defined in the module pack, basic module pack. So in order to access any module, we would have to define it in our module pack, because we would like the app details module to be initialized before the basic analytics module, because it would have to know if it's a debug version or not. We would add it here, and we'll try to run this again. This time we'll run it in debug. And here we go. We got to the basic module pack. We're in the initializing function, and we just step over, and we see our debug is true because this is a debug version. We set the analytics key in the basic analytics module to debug, so we just do that. And let's add a breakpoint to the init function of the basic analytics module. And let's run this. Let's let it run. And it didn't work. Why? Let's see the logs. It crashed. Why did it crash? Because we didn't define our module descriptor for our module. So let's take a module descriptor. Let's go to our basic analytics module and just add an annotation module descriptor. Yeah, please import the class. And what this module descriptor has is you can define which permission the module uses. So let's do that. And we would set that this module, since it's an analytic module, it uses permission internet, right? How's it go? Internet permission, this one. So we're all happy. Let's try this again. We'll run the project again. And it crashes again. Why? It says error validating module. Missing permission, internet. We didn't add the internet permission to our manifest. So we'll just copy this from the log, go to our manifest and just drop it here. Just please space this out. Thank you. And let's try to run this again, this time in debug mode, so we can actually stop in the init function of the analytics module. So here we go, we stopped here. This is a debug run. We want to set the debug key, and when we get to our initialization of our analytics module, the analytics key is set to debug. Now let's just let it run. And let's check our logs. As you can see in the logs, it mentions every module with its details that it's been initialized, including our analytics module. I already said that singleton is a bad pattern for Android. So what is this module? How many instances of this module do we have? How do you access the module and how you use it? So let's start by example. The easiest way to access a module is simply by asking it by its name. So you can just ask our basic analytic module to get module, and we'll provide the class of the module that we would like. And let's ask our basic analytic module. So now we have our analytics module from info. Okay, and we'll add a simple if condition, or better yet, compared with this, and then same, otherwise different, and we'll just store it here. Instance. Is this the same instance? And we'll print it to the log. So another nice feature of Cyborg is actually the way you print stuff to the log. So you just simply say write log info. The tag is already provided in advance, so we'll just do this. And the tag of each class is defined by the simple name of the class. So it would actually just be, in this case of this module, basic analytics module. You can also see this in logs. And let's just run this and add a breakpoint here. It's just for the fun of it. So here we go. That is not what we wanted. And there we have it. Is this module the same? Yes, this is module definitely the same instance. Cyborg manages all the instances of all the modules and makes sure that you only have one instance of each module. Yes, I know it's similar to singleton, but there are many benefits using it this way rather than using a singleton pattern. Mainly inheritance. It is annoying, complicated, and annoying to inherit of a singleton and add functionality to it. This makes it life much more simple, object-oriented, that you can extend and reuse on different inheriting children of a specific parent. So that's modules in a nutshell. I think this is enough to keep in mind for today. Thank you for participating, and until the next time, welcome to the real world.